Anthony Edwards versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. In my humble opinion, we are witnessing the very beginning of the next great guard rivalry in the NBA that could intensify in potential future playoff series. From battling head-to-head on the court to throwing some subtle jabs in the media, I wouldn't be surprised if Ant-Man and SGA have each other's team circled with a big red marker on their calendars.
SGA and Ant-Man is also doing the same thing because they beefing on some like, yo, competitive, like, yo, we gonna go at each other, we gonna talk our They doing it in different ways. Because SGA is, you know, he's Canadian, eh? So he's got to be polite, eh?
Oh, he is Canadian.
So he's not going to talk a lot of trash on the court, eh? He's going to do it on Instagram,
He'll do it subtly, eh?
A little subtle shot, eh?
Subtle shot.
Both Edwards and SGA are young and hungry to lead their franchises to playoff success and are becoming the new faces of the league in the process. In his fourth year in the association, Edwards is just 22 years old and became the third youngest player in NBA history to reach the 6,000 point mark behind only LeBron James and Kevin Durant. And he did it on the road in a pivotal midseason game against SGA and the Thunder. If we know anything about Ant-Man at this point, it's that he doesn't back away from a challenge and wants all the smoke. From the very jump of his career, the man was sizing up LeBron James and stepping into a three in his eyes all net. How could he not smile after that? And it's that same tenacity Edwards began his pro career with that has only intensified as time has progressed and now that Minnesota is playing in more meaningful games. The West is loaded, and although there wasn't a 2024 All-Star selected from every team in the playoff picture at the time of this video, an argument can be made that there should have been. That's the West that this young Timberwolves team has led for the majority of the season, and it's in large part thanks to the rising superstar that is Anthony Edwards. And right in his way at the top is OKC's 25-year-old who's in his sixth season in the league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Man, Shai a tough test, man. He got game, a lot of game. He hard to stop.
Look, we knew the man could score, okay? He averaged 31.4 points per game last year, for crying out loud. But at the time of this video's release, SGA is sitting at 31.3 points per game and is also averaging career highs in rebounds and assists to lead the second youngest team in the NBA to heights that they haven't reached since the KD Westbrook Harden days. And SGA isn't a three-point heavy player, you know, he only averages 3.4 attempts per game from three, and the man is still putting up 30 plus on most nights. Now, SGA does attempt 9.3 free throws per game, which leads all guards and is nearly 3 more than Edwards' 6.5 attempts a night. And while this does make sense according to the numbers, heck, by just watching the game alone, you'll see that SGA likes to operate more in the mid-range and knows how to draw contact. This has been one of the main contributors to Edwards and SGA's brewing on-court beef.
They don't talk about me for my post game. They talk about me for my post game.
Oh, the double entendre.
The double entendre. Don't ask me how. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess that was in response to Edwards' post game where he said it's hard. You know what I mean? To guard SGA with all the calls that Shai gets. It's hard to shut him down. You can't touch him at any time of the game, so it's super hard to beat.
Not only have they been dueling in the NBA, but they squared off in international play as well during the 2023 FIBA World Cup. All in all, so much to get to today. So before we look into the future, let's take a step back and evaluate the entirety of their matchups. Does the broader context of history accurately foreshadow the budding rivalry between the two young stars? After watching this video, you be the judge of if the Anthony Edwards versus SGA matchup is the next great guard rivalry that we'll see play out in future playoff series, and at this point, if anyone owns this matchup. Alright, let's pause for a quick shout out to Rakuten, who is not sponsoring this video by the way. They're just the #1 option for cashback with online shopping. I use Rakuten whether it's through the website or the app every time I shop online, and I have a link in the description down below. Now, I'm completely transparent. This is an affiliate link. I will get credit if you go to this link, but most importantly, you will get credit because when you spend $30, you'll get $30 back, and whatever store that you're shopping at, depending on the cashback that they're giving right now, you'll get that percentage back as well. It's legit. I've used this for years. Think about it like this. Support my channel through the link by buying whatever you want online. That's a pretty good deal, right? Let's get back to the video. To get a better understanding of this budding rivalry, let's travel back to its inception. It's February 6, 2021. Ah, yes, a time where there was empty arenas, but they still played crowd noises to make it sound like people were there.
Much as gilgeous-alexander wastes no time.
Very strange times indeed. Anyway, while no spectators were physically there to witness the first matchup between Anthony Edwards and SGA, it was playing out right before our eyes on a TV somewhere, or phone or tablet, or whatever you watch stuff on. Ant-Man dropped 20 points and 8 rebounds, while SGA poured in a near triple-double with 31 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. He and Edwards traded clutch buckets down the stretch, but it was OKC who would emerge with a 2-point W, 120-118, 1-0 SGA in the season series. A little over a month later, on March 22nd, 2021, the two would go at it again, this time in Minnesota, in there's that car again on the baseline. I called that out in the Tatum vs. Edwards video that I highly recommend checking out after this one. I'll leave a link in the description. But anyway, that's a side note, because with a car in the building, SGA was on full cruise control. You like what I did there? Another 31 points and a nasty crossover on Josh Okogie, who had himself a day, by the way. Outside of getting crossed, he crashed into the scorer's table. Anyway, Ant-Man had just 16 in this one on 37.5% field goal shooting, and OKC walked away winners 112-103 to improve SGA's head-to-head record to 2-0. January 5th, 2022, sophomore season now for Anthony Edwards, and he played well. 22 points and 5 boards compared to SGA's 19 points and 5 assists. An off shooting night for Gilgeous-Alexander in this one, just 33.3% from the field. Low scoring affair in this one. Minnesota tops OKC 98-90, giving Edwards his first career win versus SGA. And the league said, let's do it again. So 2 days later, on January 7th, 2022, Minnesota traveled to OKC and balled out on a gray court. I guess the city design for OKC this year was to go bland? I don't know. Maybe some of y'all like that, but I'm just calling it as I see it. Anyway, I guess Ant-Man was trying to spice up the joint a bit on that gray court as he knocked down 3 consecutive threes in the first quarter. Edwards finished with 24 points and 6 threes, shooting 56.3% from the field and 66.7% from downtown. SGA struggled once again, just 12 points on 36.4% from the floor. Really rare to see the lack of scoring from SGA, but when it does happen, it doesn't bode well for the Thunder. As StatMuse put it, they were humiliated by the Timberwolves 135-105, series tied 2-2 between Ant and Shea. Edwards would look to go perfect in his head-to-head games versus Shea in the 2021-2022 season on March 9th, 2022, when the Wolves hosted the Thunder. And well, let's just say that when Malik Beasley connects on 11 threes, Ant was well on his way to doing so. Edwards played just 25 minutes and scored 16. His highlight of the night was probably his reaction to a late-game dunk by Jake Layman. Get up, Jake! SGA was rough once again. 31 minutes played, just 8 points on 2 of 15 from the field. That's just 13.3%. Who is this guy, huh? This ain't the same Shea that we seeing now, I'll tell you that. Timberwolves 132, Thunder 102, Edwards up 3-2 in the season series. With SGA attempting to put the 2021-2022 matchups behind him, the two would face off on opening night of the next season on October 19th, 2022 in Minnesota, and this time, the turntables would turn.
Well. How the turntables...
SGA was the one with the big game. 32 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, but Ant-Man answered right back, at least early on, as he came out the gates hot, but finished with just 11 points on 4 of 17 shooting, 23.5%. That's not good. This game did feature some good action of the two going one-on-one, though. Both got the better of the matchup at times. In the end, the Timberwolves had a more balanced scoring attack and pulled out the win 115-108, Edwards 4-2 against SGA all time. So we're up to 4 losses in a row for SGA to Ant-Man, and once again, he'd have an opportunity to turn the tides on December 3rd, 2022, and boy, he was going to maximize that opportunity. A big game. 33 points on 58.8% shooting with 6 assists. Ant-Man responded with 26 points and 6 steals, but when it got down to winning time, SGA took over late.
So their crowd tested here, 2-2 in overtime. But that man right there leads the NBA in clutch points. thrown out of the game, but Shai Gilgeous trying to work his magic in the paint and makes it work. And how about that slippery move? That's Kevin McHale's slippery eel right there.
Watched by Noel, 6 on the shot clock. Pulls up from the free throw line, and he is ridiculous.
OKC put him away 135-128, and SGA picked up win number 3 versus Ant-Man in the all-time series. Keeping it in the month of December of this same year, but this time in OKC, it's December 16th, 2022, people. It would be Ant-Man who had come up big this time. He was knocking down the sidestep and 1 from 3 out on the left wing, and then in the fourth, the jab step and pull up deep 2 from the right wing. Edwards would finish with 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists, but SGA wasn't going down easy. He dropped a game-high 35 points. But thanks to this Austin Rivers corner 3 late, the Wolves would walk out of OKC with a 112-110 W. Edwards 5-3 all-time against SGA. Now lock in, because these next 2 matchups are the closest thing we have to playoff-type atmospheres between the 2 stars. But before I get to that, quick PSA of something else you should lock into, and that's notifications from my channel so you can get updated when I upload a new video, a short, make a community post. I want y'all to get involved. So go ahead and leave a like on this video as well if you enjoy the content. And if you're someone that goes above and beyond, well, go ahead and drop a comment down below on this matchup. And, you know, with all this being said, I just want to say this. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. It's April 14th, 2023. The Thunder and the Wolves are meeting in the number 8 versus number 9 seed final play-in game. Basically, this is how it goes. If you win, you're in. If you lose, well, you're going home. Despite the electric crowd in Minnesota ready to celebrate another Patrick Beverley-type play-in moment like they did the year before, the Thunder came into this one with momentum on their side after winning on the road against New Orleans in their first play-in game. Unfortunately, it was a rough shooting night for SGA. 22 points on just 5-19 from the field, while on the other side, Minnesota had a balanced scoring attack led by Cat with 28, Gobert had 21, Edwards added 19 points, 10 boards, and 6 assists to send Minnesota to the playoffs with a comfortable win 120-95. No, I won't count this game against their all-time record since play-in games technically don't qualify as regular season or playoff games. It's kind of this weird in-between. The next time these two dueled, it wasn't in America, but overseas in Manila. By the way, shout out to all y'all watching from the Philippines. I see my analytics. I appreciate the viewership being represented from there. Anyway, I uploaded a YouTube short on this matchup, so if you want a quick breakdown on SGA in Canada versus Ant-Man in the USA in the 2023 FIBA World Cup third place game, go ahead and check that out after this video. I'll leave a link in the description. Now let's return to the association with the 2023-2024 in-season tournament game as the first of 4 matchups between Ant-Man and SGA this season. On November 28th, 2023 in Minnesota, not only did we witness these two battle it out once again, but 2 inflatable wolves facing off and then having a dance-off.
Turn around. Every now and then I fall apart.
Minnesota really began to win games and don't know how to act. Shout out Brandon for this comment, man. I mean, I did find this performance entertaining, though. I ain't gonna lie. The Air mascots brought the energy, and the Wolves fed off of it. Ant-Man, 21 points, 5 boards. SGA, not intimidated by the mascots, 32 points on 59.1% field goal shooting. At the end of the day, this wasn't the same OKC team that they've grown to be throughout the season, though. They dropped this one, 106-103, and Ant-Man improves to 6-3 all-time versus SGA. With a lot of close games between the two, something had to give, and that night was December 26, 2023. In OKC, the Thunder came out and pounced on the Wolves. Despite 25, 7-6 from Ant Edwards, it was too much SGA, okay? The man dropped 34 points, 9 boards, and 6 assists on a blistering 73.7% field goal shooting. He could not miss. OKC ran Minnesota out the building, 129-106 for Shai's 4th head-to-head victory over Edwards all-time in the regular season. Their third matchup this season was back in Minnesota on January 20th, 2024. SGA dropped 33 points and 6 assists and shot 13 free throws, making 12. Hold on to that fact, by the way. Ant-Man contributed a stat line of 19, 5, and 5 while attempting just 10 shots all game. He attempted 10 free throws and made 6, with his biggest misses coming with the chance to tie the game with 3.4 seconds left. Now, I'll admit, this was definitely surprising to see considering how clutch Edwards has been all season. OKC walked away with the win, 102-97, to take a 2-1 season series lead as a team and to get SGA to 5-6 all-time in the regular season versus Edwards. The fact that Edwards missed 3 free throws that could have tied the game and turned the ball over 5 times, that wasn't what grabbed headlines after this one, but instead a quote from Edwards about SGA in which he said, "About winning, it's hard to with the calls that Shea gets. It's hard to shut them down. You can't touch him any time of the game. It's super hard to beat. That team is a good team, especially when they're getting calls like that." Well, someone took notice of Ant-Man's post-game interview and had a sub-tweet response of their own ready. Shea on Instagram, the caption read, "They talk about me from my post-game, not my post-game."
Boom. Roasted.
Now let's understand the moment, people. All this led up to their final regular season matchup of the 2023-2024 season on January 29th, 2024 in OKC. The scenario is clear. If OKC wins, they win the season series 3-1 over Minnesota. This would give them the edge in tiebreaker scenario for seeding at the end of the season if needed. Also, on a personal level, this win would be huge for SGA, as it would pull him to 6-6 all-time in the regular season against Ant-Man and give him 3 of the last 4 head-to-head W's. Plus, we know that SGA, albeit in sub-tweet fashion, acknowledged and clapped back at Edwards' comments about him getting favorable calls from the refs. It had everything you'd want from an entertainment and storyline perspective, and deliver on that, both of these guys did. Gilgeous-Alexander led all players in scoring with 37 points to go along with 8 assists and 7 rebounds. He shot 55.6% from the floor and attempted 16 free throws, making 15. I guess the refs didn't listen to Edwards after their last matchup because SGA ended up shooting 3 more free throws in this one compared to their previous game. OKC led 77-73 heading into the fourth quarter, and their record was 28-1 on the season when starting the fourth with the lead. Now remember what I said at the beginning of this video. If we know anything about Ant-Man at this point, it's that he doesn't back away from a challenge and he wants all the smoke. So his response was to become the 3rd youngest player ever behind LeBron James and Kevin Durant to surpass the 6,000 career points mark and lead Minnesota in scoring with 27 on the night with 12 less free throw attempts than SGA. Matter of fact, as an entire team, the Wolves attempted 7 less free throws than the Thunder in this one. Despite the odds being against them, the Wolves pulled out a big-time 107-101 W thanks to clutch play down the stretch from Edwards and company to tie the season series at 2 games apiece and push Ant-Man's all-time regular season head-to-head record to 7-5 against SGA. And once the horn sounded, Edwards didn't hold anything back when it came to how he felt about the officiating.
But contributions all around, a team effort in this one.
Certainly was.
And tonight it was the battle amongst the best in the West. You guys take sole position of number 1 in the West. How did you get it done in this environment?
I don't know. And I'm going to take the fine because the refs did not give us no calls tonight. We had to play through every bump, every grab. I don't know how we won tonight. Big shout out to my team. Big shout out to my coaches, for sure.
Hey, man, it's a true sign of honesty when you call it the officiating after a win. What we are witnessing come to fruition before our very eyes is potentially the next great guard rivalry that's still in its first chapter in the NBA. I think Patrick Beverley said it best.
I think the NBA is in really, really good hands. I'm going to say that first. I wouldn't call it beef. Competition. I like it. Go at each other. Every time y'all see each other, it's smoke. Not from no other reason, but just pure basketball. Keep pushing the needle, y'all boys cold. But when y'all see each other, let it be smoke. Let it be pure basketball fun. Give each other 40, 50 apiece. Hug, and can't wait to see you next time.
Edwards is 7-5 in his young career against SGA. Though he's got the advantage record-wise, his 20.5 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 4.4 assist average in 12 games has been overshadowed by Shea, who's averaged 28.1 points, 6.1 assists, and 4.4 rebounds in their matchups. But I'm going to leave it up to y'all. With everything presented in this video, would you say that the Anthony Edwards versus Shea Gilgeous-Alexander matchup is the next great guard rivalry that we'll see play out in future playoff series? And at this point, Does anyone own this matchup in your opinion? Sound off in the comments with your take, and I'll be reading and replying to y'all's responses. And I'll be back with another episode of Topic Tackle coming soon. As always, stay solid, people.